Guys, what's up? We're doing my Premier League 38, all 38 game predictions. I'm going to be doing this for Championship, League 1 and League 2 as well. That will be another time. I'll film them all today and then they'll be released. I don't know. Be posted some today, some tomorrow. But yeah, each video is going to be in 2 parts. So for this one, part 1 will be the opening 19 games of the season. Part 2 will be the other 19. But let's dive right in. Right, Arsenal against Coventry, 2-0 Arsenal win. Hull against Man United, 2-1 United. I think Everton will just edge it against Crystal Palace. This one's tough, but I've got Sunderland to edge it against Ipswich. Forest against Leeds, I'm going to have Leeds Forest draw. I'm going to have Tottenham to beat Brentford. Have Villa to beat Brighton. City to beat Bournemouth. I have Liverpool to beat Newcastle and Chelsea to beat Fulham. I think clubs like Chelsea will really kick on this year with the new manager in Enzo Maresca. Yeah, my game week 2 predictions as follows. I've done these earlier, I forgot to. No. And I've got some of my game week, one of my game week 3 as well. I've got Villa and Arsenal to draw 1-1. Bournemouth to beat Everton by 2-0. Chelsea to beat Brighton by 2-1. Coventry and Hull will be a really good game in game week 2 to the promoted sides, but I have Coventry to edge it there 1-0. I had City to edge out Crystal Palace 2-1. I had Leeds and Brentford drawing 1-0. I had Liverpool beating Nottingham Forest by 2-1. Manchester United beating Ipswich by 1-0. Fulham to beat Sunderland by 2-1, and Newcastle to beat Tottenham by 2-1. And then the game in game week 3 that I done, I had Arsenal to beat Chelsea by 1-0. Brentford against Sunderland, obviously a 2-1 Sunderland win here. Brighton versus Leeds United, a 2-1 Leeds win there. Everton against United, 2-1 win for Manchester United. Fulham versus Crystal Palace has a 1-1 draw written all over it. Hull against Aston Villa has a, I'm going to say, 3-1 Villa win. Liverpool to beat Ipswich 4-1. City to beat Coventry 2-0. Newcastle and Bournemouth to draw 1-1. And Tottenham to beat Nottingham Forest. Now I've got Villa to beat Forest. Gonna have Bournemouth to beat Brentford by 2-1. Chelsea to beat Hull 2-0, which would have been a Liam Rossini derby because Liam Rossini would have managed both clubs. Now he's left. Chelsea. Coventry against Brighton, a 2-1 Brighton win. Palace against Ipswich, I'm going to 2-1 Crystal Palace win there. Leeds against Newcastle, I think be a very high scoring game, a 2-2 draw. Liverpool against Fulham, I think the firepower of Liverpool will overwhelm Fulham. And I think it will be a 3-1 Liverpool win. Manchester United against Man City, the first Manchester derby of the season at Old Trafford. I'm going to say 1-1 draw in that one. Then we'll say Arsenal to beat Sunderland 3-1 at the Stadium of Light, and then Tottenham to beat Everton 1-0 at home. Also, if you can't take predictions well, don't keep watching this, don't get angry at me in the comments, it's just a bit of fun, isn't it? So I've got Liverpool to beat Bournemouth 2-1 away. Chelsea to beat Brentford 3-1, so away. Arsenal to beat Brighton by 2-1. I'm going to say Everton and Ipswich draw 1-0. Fulham and Man United, a 3-1 win. Leeds against Crystal Palace, I'll say Palace come out of that 2-1 victors. Man City against Sunderland. I would say City win at home 2-1. Newcastle against Hull. I'm going to say 2-1 Newcastle win in that game. Nottingham Forest against Coventry. A 1-1 draw is what I'm going to put down. And then obviously Villa to beat Tottenham by 2-1 in that game. Game week 6 then. Got actually in this part. Got Arsenal to beat Leeds 1-0. Villa and Brentford to draw 1-0. Classic Arsenal drop points on mid-table team. Chelsea to beat Bournemouth. Newcastle to beat Coventry. Forest to beat Palace. Hull and Everton to draw. Ipswich and Fulham to draw 0-0. City to beat Liverpool 2-1. United and Tottenham to draw 1-1. And Sunderland to beat Brighton 2-1. Bournemouth Sunderland to draw in that game. Liverpool to beat Brentford by 3-1. Crystal Palace to beat Brighton by 2-1. In that game I've got close. I've got a 1-1 draw between Everton and Chelsea. So Hull and Fulham to draw 1-1. United to beat Leeds by 3-1. Manchester City to beat Ipswich by 2-0. Aston Villa to beat Newcastle by 2-1. Arsenal to beat Nottingham Forest 2-1 as well. And then Tottenham to beat Coventry 2-1 as well. Arsenal to beat Everton. City to beat Villa 2-1. Chelsea to beat Tottenham. Coventry to beat Fulham. Newcastle to beat Palace. Hull and Brentford to draw. Nottingham Forest to beat Ipswich 2-1. Liverpool to beat Brighton 2-0. United to beat Bournemouth 2-0. Sunderland to beat Leeds 2-1. Okay, right. City and Arsenal exactly the same. Alright, Villa to beat Fulham. Leeds to beat Bournemouth. Forest to beat Brentford. United to beat Chelsea. And Sunderland to beat Coventry. Ipswich to beat Hull. Arsenal to beat Liverpool. Man City to beat Brighton. Everton to beat Newcastle. And then Tottenham to beat Crystal Palace. Arsenal to beat Hull 3-0. Brentford to beat Brighton 2-1. Liverpool to beat Palace 3-1. Coventry to beat Everton 2-1. Fulham and Newcastle to draw. Bournemouth to beat Ipswich 3-1. Tottenham to beat Leeds 2-1. United to beat Villa 1-0. City to beat Forest 2-1. And Chelsea to beat Sunderland 2-1. That week 11. Villa to beat Sunderland 3-0. Bournemouth to beat Forest 1-0. Brentford and Everton to draw 1-0. Chelsea to beat Leeds. Palace to beat Coventry. Hull to beat Brighton. United to beat Liverpool 2-1. City to beat Fulham 2-1. 3-1 even. Arsenal to beat Newcastle 3-1 and Tottenham to beat Ipswich 1-0. Day 12, Arsenal to beat Man City 2-1. Newcastle beat Brighton 3-1. Palace and Hull to draw. Merseyside derby, a 1-1 draw. Bournemouth to beat Fulham. Villa to beat Ipswich 3-1. Coventry to beat Leeds 2-1. Man United to beat Everton 1-0. Chelsea to beat Forest 3-1 and Tottenham to beat Sunderland 2-1. In matchday 13, Villa to beat Everton 2-1. Bournemouth to beat Brighton 2-1. Arsenal to beat Brentford 2-1. Chelsea to beat Palace 1-0. Ipswich to beat Coventry 2-1. Nottingham Forest to beat Hull 3-1. Liverpool to beat Sunderland 1-0. City to beat Leeds 2-1. United to beat Newcastle 3-1 and Tottenham to beat Fulham 1-0. 14, Villa to beat Newcastle 2-1. Hull to beat Bournemouth. City to beat Brentford 3-1. Liverpool to beat Chelsea. Fulham to beat Everton. Leeds to beat Ipswich. United to beat Coventry. Newcastle to beat... It's the wrong way round. Sunderland to beat Newcastle 3-2. Brighton to beat Forest 2-1. And then North London derby, Arsenal to beat Tottenham 2-1. Arsenal to beat Bournemouth 2-1. Everton to beat Brighton 3-1. Villa to beat Coventry 2-1. Palace to beat United 1-0. Brentford to beat Fulham 3-1. Tottenham to beat Hull 2-1. Ipswich to beat Newcastle 1-0. Leeds to beat Liverpool 2-1. City to beat Chelsea 1-0. Sunderland to beat Nottingham Forest 2-1. 4 match days left in part 1. And I've got Arsenal to beat United 2-1. Coventry to beat Bournemouth 2-1. Ipswich to win there. Villa to win 3-1 there. That game 0-0. Liverpool Tottenham to draw 1-0. City to beat Hull 2-0. Everton to beat Forest 3-1. And Sunderland to beat Palace 1-0. In Villa to draw to Leeds. Chelsea to beat Coventry. Arsenal to draw to Palace. Sunderland to beat Everton. Fulham to draw to Brighton. Liverpool to beat Hull 3-1. Brentford to beat Ipswich 2-1. United to beat Forest 2-1. City to beat Newcastle 3-1. And Tottenham to beat Newcastle 1-0. Day 18, Villa to beat Newcastle 1-0. Brentford to beat Coventry. Bournemouth to beat Palace. Brentford and City to draw 1-0. Arsenal to beat Fulham. Leeds to beat Hull 2-1. Chelsea to beat Ipswich 3-1. Man United to beat Sunderland 2-1. Newcastle to beat Nottingham Forest 1-0. And Brighton to beat Tottenham 2-1. The last match week of this part 1. Arsenal to beat Ipswich 2-1. Villa to beat Bournemouth 2-1. Brentford and Palace to draw 1-0. United and Brighton to draw 3-1. Newcastle to beat Chelsea 2-1. Everton to beat Leeds 2-1. Liverpool to beat Coventry 1-0. City to beat Tottenham 2-1. Fulham to beat Forest 2-1. And Sunderland to beat Hull 1-0. Right, end of part 1. Let's go down the table. Top, Arsenal 53 points. Second, City 50 points. Third, Villa 45 points. Fourth, United 44 points. Fifth, Liverpool 38 points. Sixth, Chelsea 37 points. Seventh, Tottenham 35 points. Eighth, Sunderland 34 points. Ninth, Newcastle 27 points. 10th, Bournemouth 23 points. 11th, Everton with 21 points. 12th, Leeds with 20 points. 13th, Palace with 19 points. 14th, Brentford with 17 points. 15th, Coventry with 16 points. 16th, Fulham with 15 points. 17th, Forest with 14 points. 18th, Ipswich with 14 points. 19th, Brighton with 10 points. And 20th, Hull with 10 points. That is a wrap to part 1 of the Premier League predictions. I'll post this one and then I'll get filming part 2. I'll see you later. Goodbye.